E321 80-bit newscast.
Where gaming goes to grab a beer.
So normally this show would probably be like 3 hours long because we'd be talking about everything at E3. But now that we have this platform of our 80-bit newscast, it's a half-hour show. And because of E3 being all digital this year, we are able to take everything and kind of consolidate it into our highlights and what we like. So our newscast today will be all E3 themed. It will be all of our highlights and things that we care about so far. Nintendo has not yet gone. They're tomorrow.
Yep.
So Nintendo is obviously...
Our new show is... Right, weirdly placed this year with Nintendo, being absent. So we'll do another one. Next Monday we'll talk about Nintendo's Direct, more than likely, and talk about that. In addition to all of the he just said, there's another reason why we don't... There's a couple reasons, actually, why we're doing it this way this year, and mostly just hitting highlights, is because I was on vacation during a lot of E3, so I wasn't able to watch all of the conferences when I wanted to and for how long I wanted to. So I had to kind of catch up piecemeal here and there. And also, let's be honest, big picture time. E3 wasn't very great this year.
Hasn't been.
No, we had a whole hype episode a few weeks ago, and our expectations were here, and the reality was not even here.
Not there. Nope.
Was not even here. So, anyways, all of those things. As always with our news show, we're going to kind of talk about the episode, or the pieces of E3, the pieces of news that we care about. There are other news stories that happened this week, but E3 dominated. So that's what we're mostly going to be talking about. There were some really interesting things happening with CD Projekt Red this week too that I wish if we have time, maybe we'll talk about it. But they kind of snuck something in beneath while the E3 hype was dominating the news cycle. So we can talk about that if we have time. But other than that, as always with this news show, please feel free to drop your thoughts and ideas into the chat, and we'll talk about them as they come up. But for the most part, we're going to stay laser focused on what we're talking about, and hope that at the end we'll be able to respond to all your thoughts and feedback. So if you're watching this live, please don't be shy. Please say hi. At the very least, say hi. So
that is a great segue. If you're not watching live and you happen to be catching us on YouTube, make sure you jump on over to our twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash.com, twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash, and subscribe to us so that you can be made aware of when we're live, because every Monday and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we run through news on Monday, and we do a gameplay live stream on Wednesdays for the most part, but sometimes that schedule does have some hiccups and speed bumps, as we had experienced over the last couple of weeks, so you can also be made aware of what we're doing by going over to 80bitpodsmash.com, where there are links to our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a subreddit, as well as our Discord server link. Jump in, follow along, jump into our community, talk with us. I will tell you, we have an anchor to our content, and that is our weekly video game podcast that has never missed an episode in almost 4 years. They drop every Monday at midnight, and we just launched an episode this morning, about Water Worlds, which seems very random in the middle of all the E3 hype, but it is our planned episode beats, knowing that we had a new show we could talk about E3 here. We decided to continue on with our schedule, so that has never missed a beat. It never will. We did an E3 pre-hype show if you're interested in that, because E3 kind of already happened, but if you want to see the delta between our expectations and what actually happened, go check out 80bitpodsmash.com, and there's links to all of our podcast platforms. And here we are. Let's go.
All right,
boom.
Let's talk about E3. Let's do general impressions first, and then we can talk about our highlights. So what are some general...
All right, here we go. So E3 is digital this year. It's the first time it's happened like that. Last year was this disparate attempt at getting all of the industry together, which was crazy. But this year, it's all focused here. It's all digital. So that's the first thing. We don't have a live audience reaction. We know we just came off of a COVID year, and we know we should have catered expectations, but we didn't, because we thought everybody would be more forward-facing, and it's not. So how I feel like E3 has gone so far, we had Ubisoft, with Microsoft, Square Enix, and Capcom went today, and every single one of them have been disappointing or lackluster in some regards, with very little peaks, mountains and valleys, right? So we had a couple of peaks, but I feel like we got a lot more quantity and not a whole lot of quality. We got what we were asking for when we said, a year ago, that there's not really a whole lot of games in the AA space. Well, hello, because if you go look at the 100 and some games that have been announced, 90% of them are in the AA space or indie space, and they're not really big hits. Big hype moments are gone. And like Microsoft definitely stole the show so far, but they didn't really have to try very hard. They kind of stole the show with like Forza and Halo, which we expected, and then like where's all the rest of their streams?
Starfield with Bethesda, yeah, but we'll get to all that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my general impressions. Is just a lot of AA content, a lot. I am overwhelmed. I can't keep track of everything. I looked at a list today, and I was just like, I don't know this stuff. Like the developers are crazy and prolific. The publishers, they're just everywhere. I don't know. It's so
and not
much.
a lot of it looks exciting. Like there's, whenever you're watching these shows, whether it's E3 or the Game Awards where there's lots of announcements, or even a lot of like Nintendo and PlayStation streams, you go into it expecting, okay, like I'm going to be hyped about, I don't know, or people I know are going to be hyped about like, at least 50% of this content, maybe. But usually you go in with the expectation of there being some indie showcases of things that you may be not particularly care about. I'm speaking for myself, I should say. I feel like it was mostly that. I feel like especially and that was encapsulated from the get-go. Like I started getting less and less disappointed, or more and more disappointed with this year's E3 happenings by watching the Summer Games Fest, and I was like, there were 2 hype moments for me during Summer's Games Fest, and everything else, the entire middle of it, I was just uber frustrated because for many reasons. But I was like watching my kid with like Bluetooth earbuds in, trying to watch it while wrangling him at the beach house that we were staying at. It was a mess, but nevertheless, like if there was more to keep me. It was mostly just me waiting for a specific thing to happen, and that thing did happen, but it didn't happen until the very end of Summer Games Fest, and it was like, so I just spent like 90 minutes wrangling my kid while trying to watch a bunch of garbage I didn't care about.
Right.
So,
and I want to stay positive. I like the game industry coming together. I love everyone's focused here. I like the single point of reference, and that's kind of the one thing I do like about E3, especially as we go back to a live audience. But what I really want to highlight is that there should be, despite the crazy amount of stuff we saw that's all kind of mediocre, there should be something every single gamer likes. There should be at least 3 or 5 games out of this entire show that you could be hyped about. Maybe not the jaw-dropping, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that moment, because that didn't really happen. We expected everything. There's been no surprises yet, except for Nintendo, which might happen tomorrow. But the takeaway is there is something here for everyone. Every type of gamer, whatever you're looking for, there should be at least something to be excited about.
And there is something. There are some things for both myself and you, I think, that we are excited about. And we're going to get to those.
Yep.
But I guess my thought and my point, my impression is that there were things that we know are right around the corner. We know that Capcom is working on certain things. We know that Square Enix is working on certain things, and those things weren't even talked about.
Nothing.
Mentioned, shown, displayed.
Yep.
I went through example is Forspoken, and
I went through 23 Xbox Game Studios. 23 of them. And we never got Avowed. We didn't get Everwild, and we didn't get Fable. We didn't get Perfect Dark. Nothing. Like it was all.
Forspoken is coming out in like February of next year, I think, and we saw nothing other than just a brief trailer that a brief glimpse that we already saw. Final Fantasy 16 has game. We've seen Final Fantasy 16 gameplay footage, and we saw nothing at this E3, and it's again supposedly coming out next year. Like, I don't know. It was weird. And then furthermore, I guess I didn't expect anything from Sony, because I think Sony's going to try to get away from the E3 hype and do their own thing.
Rightfully so.
I think that's right now, rightfully so. I think that's coming. So I was a little bit disappointed, but like I thought they might sneak some things into other people's conferences, and we didn't really see that either. I guess my major impression right now is I feel like the gaming industry is giving up on E3. Like everyone just kind of phoned it in. And so I'm here for E3. I want E3. I'm with you. I want this gathering of games. I want them to bring their best foot forward and show off what they've got. And I didn't feel like any of them really put their best foot forward this year, except for maybe Nintendo. We'll see. There are some things that, are maybe coming from Nintendo that, could change my mind about it, but Microsoft didn't really put their best foot forward. Square Enix didn't put their best foot forward. Capcom didn't put their best foot forward. Gearbox didn't put, none of them did.
Yeah.
So,
and Ubisoft as well. Two more thoughts. Microsoft has all these game studios that are all working on crazy stuff, and we keep criticizing Microsoft for not having any games. They didn't really move the needle with this E3 in showing us that they don't have games, but I feel like they have so much under the hood that like
Yeah.
the next console generation they are going to be poised to destroy everyone. So I think
Hopefully.
this is that like quiet before the storm for Microsoft, where it's like we know we get in Forza Horizon 5, we know we're getting Halo Infinite, and we know Bethesda is working on Starfield. Like we knew that already before this show. So they're just showing us stuff we already knew. But what we don't know are all those other games we just mentioned we didn't get updates for, and that's coming
That
next
we know
year
are
in the year
coming.
of. Right. Yeah, that we know are coming. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's Microsoft. The other point that I want to make about E3 this year, and I don't know if you've been following the E3 YouTube channel. It's the one that's like the overall encompassing E3 presentation. I want to focus on the presentation. It's filled with people producing this show that have grown up playing video games, and I feel like there's been a huge shift because E3 in the 90s and the early aughts was all business. It's button up. It's like disconnected businessmen and women like talking about video games from a cagey, weird, campy spot that don't really play games, that don't really get it. They're just salespeople trying to do gimmicky things, and that has led to a history of E3s that are hilarious, of like all the moments, right? We look back on that and we laugh, like Big Crabs, Ridge Racer, right? Like we have those dumb moments. But this year I really noticed that all of the hosts and everyone who was presenting, even though it was digital, were all people who'd grown up playing games, and they were with us. They're like us. It's our people.
Right.
And so you can see a lot more love and passion for the medium itself and a lot more appreciation for the art form. And I want to highlight that because that's a new E3. This is totally different. We got Twitch streamers, esport, like athletes, and we have hosts from podcasts and shows that are in the community that we're listening to and digesting that are on there. And I feel like that's just a whole new look. So we're growing. And I think this is the rough spot. I hope they can optimize, and I always look, because I'm optimistic, that next year and the year after, we get better and better. We're in person. The studios get their stuff together, and maybe E3 is appealing, and Sony comes back, and it becomes this big deal again. That's what I really, really, really want. But this year,
I would love
not that.
I would love that. I just, to me, this felt like I'm the pessimist and the cynic between the two of us, and to me, this felt like the death knell, the nail on the coffin. It felt to me like that.
Don't forget. They said console gaming was dead in 2008, 2009. They're like, no more console.
Different.
We're going
That's
to mobile,
different.
and we're going to
It's
cell
different.
phones. Here we are.
That's different, though. That's different. I don't know. That's different. And you may be right. I may be wrong. But to me, like I said, I feel like they all phoned it in. I don't know how much the gaming, the people who are like pushing this stuff actually care about this anymore. And I can see more people dropping out next year. More and more people dropping out over the course of the year. As we come to 2022.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument for that.
I mean, yeah, like why would you consolidate all the hype into 1 week when your announcements could get overshadowed?
Yep.
When you can just do them any week during the summer on your own and get all the hype.
Right.
Like, honestly, that's part of the reason why I feel like they've all phoned it in, because I think that Microsoft's going to be doing another presentation in July. I think that Square Enix is going to do another presentation in July or August. To focus on those things that we said were missing. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like so much was missing that all of these people are trying to get away from this entire thing.
Yep.
So, whatever. We'll see. And I hope I'm wrong, because I want to be wrong in this case. But
we need to go to an E3. 8-Bit Pod Smash needs to go to one before it dies, and it needs to be good.
It's dead, Jim. All right, let's talk about highlights.
Right.
I guess you want to just ping pong and
I'll just go down the list.
about...
We came up with notes. Yeah, ping pong. So one from me, one from you, one from me. All
Yeah.
right, sweet. So one of the biggest disappointments from E3 this year for me was this is a highlight. It is a highlight. Highlights can be good or bad, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's kind of what I did too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
All right, so this is a disappointment highlight for me. Babylon's Fall from Platinum Games is now a live Surface game. This is from Austin Goslin over at Polygon. Give them the click. 3 years after its announcement, Babylon's Fall got a new trailer and more details than ever here at E3. Among those details was the fact that the game is being developed and planned as a live service game, according to Platinum Games. In a brief developer message after the E3 trailer, members of Babylon's Fall development team explained that the game will receive updates after its release that include new content. According to the game's YouTube trailer description, this content will include, quote, game modes and will be released for free. The developers also explained that the game will be playable in single player, but also allow players to team up in groups of 4 to complete dungeons, which is a possible place for some of the new content to come in. It's not clear if the co-op will be limited to dungeons or if it will be available in the rest of the game as well. So outside of its newly announced live service elements, Babylon's Fall looks pretty similar to what Square Enix and Platinum Games have shown before. It's still an action RPG with heavy emphasis on hack-and-slash combat. It's set in the glowing city of Neo-Babylon in a setting that seems to mix high fantasy and biblical elements. So, that sucks. Didn't really want that, but I'll buy it super
No.
cheap, and we'll do a stream, and it'll be fun.
We'll see.
And
I'll see how it
move on.
reviews.
Yeah. But I was
Yeah,
hyped for
I
this
mean-
game. This was like a Square Enix Platinum game. I'm like, Nier Automata, except a different world, new IP, different universe.
I was
like
hoping
this,
it would be just Nier Automata in like a fantasy world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not just
Yeah.
and that's what it looks like. The combat kind of looks like that, but
Yep.
yeah, I didn't even know that. I saw that entire trailer and I was like, sweet, awesome, this game looks good. I want to get it.
Nope,
So it wasn't
now-
until I read this later that I was like, what?
Now
I
it's
didn't even
gas.
touch that.
Yep.
Again, because I've had to. Yeah, you and I are pretty. We've talked about GAS before and how we both want to love that, but we don't.
Yeah.
Its implementation so far has burned us enough times that both of us are kind of like, ugh. So yeah, I agree on that one. That's unfortunate. So, I'll pick another one that is similarly,
Bad?
a similar
Disappointing?
vibe, and I'll
Thanks.
go with Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin was announced. We kind of got
Chaos.
this leaked ahead of time. Chaos! Chaos! We got this leaked ahead of time, and it was described as a Final Fantasy spin-off game by Team Ninja from Koei Tecmo, the same team development studio that did Neo and Neo 2. And it was described as like an action RPG, but with Souls-like elements like Neo. I think we saw that in the gameplay that they showed off, but the impression that it left for everybody was the trailer was really, really weird and kind of obnoxious and very, as you put it, how'd you put it? You called it,
I don't remember my
Gosh.
words, but it was good. I think I stole them from James.
No,
from
you
Jimothy.
did. Yeah, it was,
I'm bringing up our chat history because we
Sure.
go back and forth. We chat about this.
It's
And-
anyways, for one, like the main, it's very discombobulating.
Edgelord 20 Edgelord 2000.
Edgelord, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, Edgelord. What do you
Yeah.
mean by that? It's just like it seems very like overly serious.
Yeah.
And trying to be cool and edgy and gritty.
Yep.
But like not hitting the mark. And like the main character is like flanked by two guys wearing like elaborate armor and having your typical anime hair. But the main character himself has like a haircut like mine and is wearing like a t-shirt and jeans, but has this big old sword and is obsessed with killing chaos. Which is the main character, or the chaos it's loosely connected to Final Fantasy 1, the very first game. It's supposed to take place in that same universe, but like that game had like a paper thin story to begin with, and like the final boss is, spoilers for a 30-something-year-old game, the final boss is Chaos. So I guess like we're in this game, you're gonna go try to kill Chaos, and like they make sure you know that in the trailer because he keeps going, I'm gonna find Chaos. Are you Chaos? I'll kill you, Chaos. Chaos. So it's a highlight for me because the trailer was just absurd, and I'm sitting there being like, I had my mouth agape, like, what the heck am I watching? It's what Square Enix like capped off their conference with, as if it was going to be the most hyped thing in the world. All that said, I kind of want to play it. Like, the gameplay looks cool, and the idea of Final Fantasy spin-offs that like branch into different genres is really appealing to me. I'm like, that sounds awesome, especially if they did a Final Fantasy Souls-like and really committed to it. I'd be into it. I would be totally there. So I hope that I can get through the awful dialogue.
It's made by Team Ninja. There is a demo. It's the last nail in
I
that
wanna
coffin
go to
is there's a demo right now that apparently is corrupt and no one can play it. You download it and install
chaos!
it, and yep, that's exactly what the Twitterverse has gone with. It's chaos.
It's viral marketing. That's all it is.
That's all it is. A corrupted.
They're operating. Team Ninja and Square Enix are operating on this level,
Yeah.
and we're all down at this level and thinking that it was a mistake. And they're like, "No, we're already getting you ready to hate chaos."
It's so
chaos comes in and corrupts your game.
It's so on purpose that they did research to find other games that were corrupted and knew the language that Sony put in the generic error message that you get, and they're like, "Oh, corruption?
Yes.
We're gonna call that corruption chaos, and we're gonna make a whole game about it, just centered on Sony's error message."
They're gonna make you hate chaos so that you're into it. You're right there with the main character, and you're like, let's kill some effing chaos right now.
Oh, man.
It was just, again, it was a highlight because it was just so absurd for all reasons. But I also kind of want to play it. I'm also into it. I'm into the idea of it. I want to like this game, but it's also one of those things that's like, you made a weird first impression.
Yep, and I downloaded the demo twice trying to play it, so I'll wait until the Twitterverse says it's okay, and then I'll download it a third time. But it's only available till the 24th. You only got 10 days, so you better get it together because I want to play it. It's free for everyone.
They'll extend it. They'll extend it for sure.
You're right. All right, next up is Starfield was announced finally. That's great. Everyone knew it was going to come. It was here. Bethesda's next big game. But what we didn't know was its exclusivity, and they were not shy at all about emblazoning everything about Starfield with exclusive to Xbox Series X and S on PC. And it is coming to Game Pass.
Fighting words.
I mean, it was mentioned in verbally by the lady who came out on stage and was talking about it. It was in all of the trailers. It was in all of the footage. Exclusive. They wanted no doubt whatsoever that if you're on PlayStation, you're not getting Starfield. So that's the bit of news.
Sore out of luck.
Yep. And it was a really short, 2-minute trailer that just gave you a thematic, nondescript alien planet.
It was very spacey.
Constellation.
Astronaut suits. I kind of half expected Celine to drop in at some point.
Yeah, right?
Last
That's another conversation, by the way. It's the tendency to go towards all these space games. But so the cool thing about the game that was a little bit afterward was it is the first game to use the Creation Engine 2. The first Creation Engine started back on Morrowind, and it has been iterated on until Fallout 76. So here we are now finally getting the sequel to that engine. A brand new engine. It's completely overhauled.
See? Now I'm interested.
Yeah, but it's going to be the spiritual successor to the engine that brought you Skyrim, that brought you Fallout 4. The big hitters that are really good. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about this game. I'm also excited I don't have to buy it. I'll just get it on Game Pass when I go play it.
Yeah, you're ready to go fire it up whenever you want.
We have a release date, speaking of release day, and that's November 11th, 2022, which who knows if that's going to get delayed or where they're at.
Plus 11 is 22.
That's what they did. 11, 11, 22.
Come on, Termite. Your clarion call for the last 2 months has been it's gonna get delayed.
Yeah, well, that's because everything in 2021 has been. This is 2022, so is it gonna be delayed?
2023.
Yeah, probably spring. Sure, I wouldn't be surprised.
Speaking of hype games that are probably gonna get delayed, Penguin. Oh, did you want to talk more about Starfield?
I didn't. That's it. That was a great segue. Well, perfect.
It was such a good segue. But, Elden Ring. Oh,
what?
Finally.
Who?
Elden Ring. Oh,
Egg.
Whooper.
Girl.
Humanity restored.
Who?
Stop hollowing. We're all hollowing now.
Elden Ring finally made it. Finally. You guys have what you want. And girls. Go get it.
Oh, man. It's actually almost less fun to go to the Elden Ring subreddit now, though. So, but yes, Elden Ring finally was showed off. After 2 whole years of silence, complete silence, not a word, not a peep from Software or Bandai Namco about this game, except for the single trailer teaser that we got. They finally announced Elden Ring. It's funny that I've gone through the entire gamut of caring about this game in regards to since the teaser. I remember the teaser being shown at the Game Awards 2 years ago and being like, I don't care about this. It's probably going to be a hard game that I don't care about. And since then, I've become totally on board and totally hyped for it, thanks to Bloodborne. But yes, so it's finally revealed. They showed off gameplay. They showed off all the stuff. It's really exciting. It's really cool. And of course, they ended the trailer with a release date of January of next year. I don't remember the specific date, but it's January. I think it's January 22nd. I want to say. But boom, stuck in my head.
I think.
But yes, finally, Elden Ring is going to happen, and I am hyped. It was the thing at the end of the Summer Games Fest. It was the only thing really that made it worth it to watch that event.
What was the release date again?
January 22.
Ooh, one day off.
23, 21.
Nope, 21.
Yeah. So, anyways,
no, it's not.
It was the only thing. What?
It is what they announced as the release date. But that's not the release date.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that one.
Go ahead.
They did show off a lot of gameplay, but yes, no, it looks great. It does look great. I don't have much to gush about other than looks fun, looks awesome, looks a lot like this. It looks to Dark Souls what Dark Souls was to Demon Souls, where it's a spiritual successor to the game, very much meant to evoke not just like Sekiro, where it's similar type of game, but entirely. An entire spin-off. Sekiro and Bloodborne are both in that realm. No, this is probably going to have direct connections to the Dark Souls universe. Maybe even implying a multiverse of these kind of Souls things. Either way, it looks great. and I need to catch up on Dark Souls because I've played Demon Souls and I've played everything else from Software. I have not played the Dark Souls trilogy. So, anyways, it looks awesome. So even you're interested.
Yeah, Elden Ring will be my jump-on point to the entire Soulsborne genre unless they patch Bloodborne officially with a 60 FPS version for PS5. If they do that, I'll play Bloodborne. If they don't do that, I'll play Elden Ring. So.
You know what has a 60 FPS version for PS5?
Demon Souls?
Oh,
Sekiro.
Demon Souls too, actually. Yeah. I can give you both of them. I'll let you borrow them. That could be a jump.
If you give them to me, I'm never going to say no to that. I will take them off your hands forever.
So, anyways, Elden Ring, it's happening. It's a real thing. It's not just made up in our minds, and we have confirmation of that now. So,
and it will come before George R.R. Martin's next Game of Thrones book.
There was, I'll just say as my final thing, there was one of the people who has been leaking this kind of finally revealed some conversations with his source, and it's all right, it's all correct, so it's legit. But in those conversations, the dude was like, the early conversations, they're like, Bandai Namco's got a big, or From Software's got a big name author who's not working on his current thing in order to work on this. So it's very possible that Winds of Winter was delayed specifically because George R.R. Martin was working on Elden Ring.
How does that make you feel?
I'm torn emotionally. I'm like,
you're just on a journey, and we're just going to go with you.
Is the game going to be that much better because George R.R. Martin helped write it? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. I'd rather just have
was the HBO Game of Thrones show better because George R.R. Martin was involved?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Anyways.
Next story. There's an Xbox Series X mini fridge. It's actually happening, which we knew before, but now they got the world premiere trailer, and I threw this on here because it is a highlight of mine. I am so ready to fill this refrigerator with the energy drink that The Rock has come out with that I love the taste of more than Monster, and I cannot wait to have
genuinely going to get this thing?
Yeah.
You're going to get it?
Yeah.
How much is it?
I don't know. There's no price yet. I will buy one for work. It's going to be in the maybe, just maybe, I can split the cost amongst coworkers, or I can subsidize it with like an expense report type deal. I don't know, but it's going in the lab where I work every single day, and it will be stocked with energy drinks. And I'm hoping to be able to come up with a normal, regular rotation of purchasing said drinks from all the coworkers, and we can all just kind of jump in on this thing. There's a lot of hype in the lab already for it, so I think it could happen.
Nice.
And so I'm here for it. Go check out the E3 Xbox Series X mini fridge. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, other than it looks like a really big Series X, which is a joke because when it was first shown off, everyone on the internet said it looks like a refrigerator, and so they just dove in and said, "Yep, sure is," and here is a refrigerator. So I'm in. Nice. It's awesome, but it was in Microsoft's E3 presentation. So go ahead. What's your next one?
My next one is, I'll say, one of the best and most honest video game trailers of all time. Now was they did announce that The Outer Worlds 2 is a thing that's happening, which is exciting for its own purpose because I liked The Outer Worlds, and I would totally play The Outer Worlds too. But that's not why I put it on my highlights. Why I put it on my highlights was the trailer was hilarious.
It was really funny.
It was really, really funny, and it was basically making fun of video game trailers and just giving us all the inside baseball, like here's a silhouette shot of our main character that is just a vague shadow because we haven't even finished the character design.
Yep. Here's lens flares.
Lots and lots of lens flares because it will drive up pre-sales numbers.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Because absolutely none of this game is actually finished yet, except for one thing. The title. It said Outer Worlds 2. It was great. So,
it was funny, but that's Obsidian, right? And we know they're making Avowed. They're finishing up Grounded right now. They're still adding content to Grounded.
Yeah.
So there's just they are very prolific studio. It's kind of like Insomniac Games. How in the world are they doing this, right? So we know now with that hilarious trailer that all we have is a title. It's as in development as Elder Scrolls 6. It's just way
It's way down the road. Yeah. We'll probably see Avowed before we see.
Oh yeah,
before we see that
we
from
better.
them. But, yeah. But it's cool. It's coming. It's glad to see them kind of getting successful and getting their own legs up. We did a whole developer profile on them, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see how they've grown and decided to kind of do their own things. Starting with Pillars of Eternity was their first new IP, because up to that point they had just perfected other people's IPs.
Yep.
And so it's great to see them continue to like get support for their existing franchises, the ones they created and started. So cool. And just that trailer, you gotta go watch it. Look at YouTube Outer Worlds 2 and watch the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. It's great.
And we did an entire 80-bit Pod Smash episode of our developer profile series on Obsidian. We did it back in 2019. It's on our feed. So go to 80bitpodsmash.com and go check it out. We go through the whole history of Obsidian. So there you go.
That's a great one. Yep. All right, cool. Your next one?
Next one is Halo Infinite. We finally got some footage. It looked like what was an in-game engine-rendered trailer, which thematically sounds just like Halo. We got a new Cortana replacement, and apparently the big story twist here in the trailer is that Cortana was supposed to be deleted by Master Chief. Master Chief did not do it, but Cortana is deleted. And this new AI was supposed to have been deleted after her mission, which was involved in the Cortana thing. But Cortana's deleted, so the mission is done, but she's still alive. So what happened? Was actually really intriguing. I was like, dang. Like, yeah, I had no idea any of this is going on. I haven't finished Halo 5 yet, and I know she goes rogue in Halo 5. So, like, that's a whole story thing that I need to finish. But this trailer was really good. We need to finish
it together and do 4 because I haven't played 4.
Oh, it'd be so fun. I have the Series X 4K, and we got vaccines, so let's go. Come over. Boom. Why are we here?
Boom.
Come over. Anyway.
Sorry, guys. We're not doing this show anymore because we're going to play video games.
All day. So it was a really good showing, a really good trailer, but the biggest news surrounding Halo Infinite was, one, it's coming this holiday 2021, which we all kind of suspected, but two, is the multiplayer mode is free to play across all Xbox and PC. So anyone who wants to play Halo Infinite online can get it for free. And awesome. That was kind of neat. They're going to do 120.
And it looks really fun. I will say that is the first multiplayer Halo showing that I've seen that I've been like, this looks great. And it's great because it looks good because it looks like Halo multiplayer. Like they didn't show some battle royale nonsense. I'm sorry. What they showed was they showed deathmatch, capture the flag, and oddball, which are the Halo modes, but like with all new cool stuff, new vehicles, new weapons, new mechanics. It looks, and the hook shot was great. It looks awesome. I'm into it. I might even have to download it to my PC
and
play with you because I've been dabbling in Overwatch recently. I've been dipping my toe into that competitive multiplayer space for funsies. I could see myself doing it with a franchise that I love. So,
I haven't played Halo multiplayer since Reach came out. Was the last one I really played, and 3 prior to that. So I'm excited. Like,
I will say that what they've shown of the graphic, I know that the multiplayer might not be quite as good looking as the single player, but from both the single player and multiplayer, it doesn't really look like the graphics have improved all that much. So I still want to see like a graphical showcase of the single player campaign again, which I was kind of hoping to see here as a redemption story. We didn't see it. It's not a big deal, but it was a thought.
There's a little bit of like hint if you watch the trailer because it is rendered in game. You can see the new like story dialogue with Master Chief play out, and it looks that looks way better.
That does look great. That looks a lot better. Yeah.
But the actual multiplayer gameplay doesn't show us enough to realize. Like I noticed the Lego movie backgrounds are gone and replaced with actual mountains, so that's nice. That's a good touch. But I haven't done like the deep dive into the lighting effects and like the polygon counts and all those things, resolutions and such. But we'll see. Cool. More to be known. Yep, go ahead. We're a little over time, so go for it.
Sure, it's fine. My last hype, this is one that should be short, so my last hype moment thing that I'm excited about, not surprisingly, is Borderlands has officially got a new spin-off game called Wonderlands, specifically Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. We talked about this in an episode the episode that dropped today, actually, we talked about it, because it had leaked at that point. And but now it's finally announced. It wasn't clear, so like it was clear that it was going to be like a Borderlands spin-off properly, but it wasn't clear as to what. There was a lot that wasn't clear about it. So now it is clear. It's going to be Tiny Tina's involvement it's going to be Bunkers and Badasses too, pretty much. It's going to be
awesome.
Her D&D campaign. She'll be the dungeon master. There will probably be guest voices from the other characters that we all know and love. But on top of that, there's also other NPCs in the game. There's going to be people voiced by Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, and Will Arnett, who's going to be the bad guy, which is amazing cast. On top of course, Ashley Birch returning as Tiny Tina to narrate your adventure. But some of the things they revealed is you'll have the characters you're playing as are going to be entirely customizable, which is a first for the Borderlands franchise. They're described as multi-class heroes, so there's going to be some customization into how the character works too. The grenade button is going to now be spell casting, but other than that, it's going to be a looter shooter in a fantasy world. You'll still have Borderlands-like guns and loot chase to go after, with all those mechanics, presumably from Borderlands 3, like jumping, vaulting, and all that stuff is going to be present. And action abilities and all that stuff are probably still going to be present. So, sounds really, really fun. The idea and concept of it, unfortunately, my only downside is they had an entire presentation where they could have shown off some gameplay, and they didn't. So that's unfortunate. So all we have is just those details that I have. So,
it looks like it's
it
all
will be
rendered.
multiplayer.
Yeah, it will be multiplayer, of course. It looks rendered in the Borderlands 3 engine, and it is coming to all the platforms, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X. So it's a cross-gen game, and it's coming early next year. I don't expect that to get delayed, because it's made on the same engine as Borderlands 3, and they've had how many years to develop this new content?
Sure. Yeah. Yep, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might still get delayed. I'm completely cynical about that at this point. It's like, I'll probably get delayed. So, cool. All right.
One of Microsoft's highlights of all of E3, I think this was the best showing across the whole show so far, so that's why I saved it for now. It was Forza Horizon 5. So everyone knows Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is probably the most gorgeous looking video game on the market right now across everything, because it's the new true next-gen stuff. Yeah. Well, Forza Horizon 5 Microsoft said, hold my beer, and showed us this. It looks absolutely stunning. They showed us still images of what looked like an actual 4K photography thing, and then it was actually the game, and they zoomed in on a car and started racing. If you haven't seen, I know you're not into racing games. I absolutely adore the Forza Horizon series. I've played all of them except for 2. I'm playing 4. I fired it up yesterday with hype in this. I continue to play it. I love it, and it's coming to Game Pass on November 9th of 2022, I believe, and it's set in Mexico, which is a totally cool new setting that doesn't really get enough love except for like Red Dead Redemption. And they highlighted like how they're diving into the culture of Mexico and trying to highlight artists in it. They worked with Mexicans to like go through their cities and map out their terrain. They're mapping out actual craters and volcanoes and like real life places. It looks absolutely stunning, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait to play it. So I just want to highlight, if you haven't looked up Forza Horizon 5's gameplay demo, they showed actual gameplay with UI running on an Xbox Series X, and it's amazing. So go check that out.
I had to go run to the store while watching it. So that was what I was watching when I was mostly driving and paying attention to the road. But I was listening on my earbuds. So I was kind of tuning out, not gonna lie. But I also needed to grab cheese from the store. So I did. Hey, cheese.
That was a jaw-dropping moment for E3 for me. I was like, I cannot believe video games even think of looking this good. Like, and then I thought back on, well, we haven't really seen what next gen is capable of yet, except for Rift Apart and Returnal and Demon's Souls.
It does look good. I might need to. Well, I might at least watch the trailer with my son because he's obsessed with cars right now.
Yeah, he'd love it. Yeah, it's great.
So, cool. All right, awesome. Last final thought, I did want to highlight that. News. Yeah, I wanted to highlight that final thought because it was interesting. There was a game shown off a while ago. Was it at the Game Awards? I don't remember. There was a game shown off by Rare's next project called Everwild. It looks very cartoony, action RPG, maybe co-op adventure, mystical, foresty, with that kind of Pixar quality look. Very similar to Kena Bridge of Spirits, which is coming out this year. I always get the two confused. It's not. It's a game by Rare, and it was not shown at all, and we expected it to be shown. So what happened to it, Termite?
Well, according to this article over at VGC, VideoGamesChronicle.com, written by Andy Robinson, to clarify what you were saying earlier, we first saw this game at XO19 in November of 2019, and then we saw it again at the Xbox Game Showcase in July of last year, 2020.
Got it. So last year's E3.
Officially announced in 2019, has now been almost 2 years into development. According to Jeff Grubb over at the other website that I can never remember, GamesBeat, I believe.com, he had said, and this confirmed it, that development was taking longer than expected. So this is what the article says. According to our publishing sources, it could be a while before fans receive a significant update on the title, and even longer before it releases. VGC understands that last year's departure of creative director Simon Woodruff, first reported by us, has led to a complete overhaul of the game's design and direction, as well as significant changes to its senior leadership. According to people with knowledge of Everwild's development, the game's design has essentially been, quote, restarted from scratch, which means it will likely be several years before it releases. We're told that Everwild's development team is now optimistically targeting a 2024 release, and that Rare's most senior creative employee, designer Gregg Mayles, has been brought in to lead the reboot. Mayles is arguably the most decorated designer in Rare's history. Aside from founding Stamper Brothers since 1989, Mayles has led design on some of the studio's biggest hits, including Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Viva Pinata, and Sea of Thieves. Everwild's executive producer, Luis O'Connor, confirmed Mayles' appointment in response to an advance copy of this story. The team behind Everwild continue to shape a truly magical experience and remain focused and excited about creating a new game centered around a truly unique new world. Gregg Mayles joined us late last year as creative director, and the team has never been stronger. Since showing the world our Eternals trailer, we have been making progress on all aspects of Everwild, and I won't go on. There's more to that article. Go check it out. But basically, huge, major leadership turnover.
Huge setback.
And this is Metroid Prime level reboot.
Yeah,
yep.
We're not going to see it for
a long
a while.
time. But I'm kind of bummed because I was really excited about this. Yeah.
Honestly, though, again, like I said, I it's coming out around a bunch of other games that are kind of similar, or it was originally kind of being talked about. It really kind of fell off my radar, so I'm hoping it falls back on my radar when it's ready to go later.
It really did look like a Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, but 4-player co-op kind of thing.
Right.
So,
which sounds great.
Awesome.
But,
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
That's it.
Well, that's our show. So thank you for sticking around for a little bit longer to hear us gush about E3, or
not.
maybe not. Maybe not gush. So as always, we don't have anyone.
Sad day.
I didn't mean to start that sentence with that. But we don't have anyone in the chat to give us any feedback, so we will skip that portion of this show. If you're watching this later and are like, man, then please go to twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash and subscribe there so that you are alerted when we go live. Also, just bear in mind, we always go live every Monday night at 8. Not every Monday night at 8, but because we had some setbacks recently. But we really, really try to stick to that schedule, so you can count on us mostly being here at 8 o'clock Monday nights. So check it out. And if you want to make sure that you catch us and that we're not on an off week because of life getting in the way, then there are lots of social media places where we announce if we're not going to be available, and we also talk about our thoughts and stuff like that. And so Termite, where once again are all those places that they can listen to us?
80 BIT Podsmash, 80bitpodsmash.com. No dashes, hyphens, or funny business. I haven't said that in a while. You can go to that website and you can find links to all of our social media outlets. As we mentioned, there's a Discord server. I actually stood up an E3 2021 channel, and I have been kind of live tweeting or live reacting in that space, and I've gotten some interactions from some folks. It's been fun, so go check that out. The Discord link is in all of our show notes. If you're catching this before E3 ends, that's where we'll be. If you are catching it after E3 is over, you can still go back in and see as things happened what I had to say, and I will try to cover Nintendo tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon, we'll be watching Nintendo, and I'll be on Discord.
Noon Eastern time?
Yeah, it's all Eastern. Yep, everything's Eastern, noon Eastern time, and I will be on Discord talking and typing up things. I think I'm going to be there. I'll be at work, but I'm trying to take a lunch break and I blocked it out on my calendar, so hopefully I'll be there. And yeah, so that'll be fun. Check us out, 80bitpodsmash.com. Subscribe to our socials. Follow us along. And we never miss a podcast episode. So always check out our RSS feeds and Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. We're on all those major platforms. If we're somewhere you want us to be and we're not, let us know, and we'll put ourselves there just for you. So let us know.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you Wednesday, I guess.
See you Wednesday night.